Well, welcome back to the morning show here on the Rise News. I'm Rafai Yassini.
I am Adesoa Omorwan.
And I'm Shaitan Atigari. Thank God it's Friday.
Really exciting Friday. Everybody else smiling. I'm really excited. Determined to deepen the campaign for literacy and development of Nigeria's human capital resource, especially through the enhancement of reading culture in Nigeria and to promote arts and culture, the Committee for Relevant Arts, CORA, is set for the 21st edition of its annual Lagos Books and Arts Festival, LABF, holding at the Freedom Park in Lagos Island.
Indeed. Now, the theme for the year is Emerge, Breaking into the New, and it is premised on the notion of breaking free from the shackles of social, political, economic, and cultural factors that inhibit the progress of the individual and the nation.
Described as Africa's biggest cultural picnic, LABF, born in 1999 at the onset of Nigeria's return to full democratic governance, is a week-long, comprehensive, open-air, carnivalesque feast of life and ideas, featuring a mixed grill of artistic and cultural events, including exhibitions of books and arts, live reading sessions, conversations around books, seminars on visuals, performing, and allied arts.
Through 51 odd events, the week-long festival will examine the issues around 20 years of Nigeria's democracy, the shift in political events and the discourse around the continent, as well as the development in and around global politics.
And joining us now is Jahman Anikulapo, Culture Curator, Communicator, Program Chair of Committee for Relevant Arts, CORA, and the Executive Program Director, Culture Advocates Caucus. But before we begin our chat with Mr. Jahman, since we are talking about books and arts, there was a recently launched book at the Didi Museum here in Lagos, popularly referred to as the Benin Red Book.
That's right, Adesoa. The new book, which weighs 6.8 kg, features 599 pages of meticulously researched articles and 441 iconic images and contributions by 18 scholars. Is published by Wells Crimson Limited under the auspices of the Oba Ewuare Foundation in collaboration with the Benin Traditional Council. Now let's take a look at the package put together on the Red Book by our Rise News producer, Ozi Okoli, who was at the launch.
At Didi Museum in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, culture enthusiasts, lovers of tradition, diplomats, eminent personalities, friends and well-wishers gathered for the launch of the book titled The Benin Monarchy, an anthology of Benin history.
I've been very impressed by what I've seen. A tremendous amount of work must have gone into producing this red book that weighs 7 kilograms. Gone are the days when Africa was named the Dark Continent just because we had nothing written by our own people about us. Now, works such as the Benin Monarchy, the Benin Red Book, have come into being, documenting several things from as long ago as 400 years ago. So we do have a history, and it's no longer just oral history. It's now written history, which obviously will last longer than the oral history.
The Benin Monarchy, an anthology of Benin history, is a book which builds on previous narratives by bringing together the manifold intersecting worlds of the Benin traditions, history, and modernity to create a chronicle which illustrates all the features, personalities, and dynamics that have framed the Benin Monarchy.
The Africans are one of the pillars of the Brazilian formation. So, and most of the Africans that went to Brazil came from this region, and Benin is one of the countries that have sent most of the of Africans to Brazil to work in our sugarcane plantations. So it was, for me, it was very important to come and to understand a bit better the history of Benin. It's really fascinating for me to be here.
The book, popularly called the Red Book, is an expensive, comprehensive examination of the history of the Benin people as a nation. It reveals the artistic accomplishments, norms and values, and of course, the challenges that have arisen over the centuries.
The Benin Red Book is an attempt to present African history by Africans to the world at large. The Benin Red Book is a 600-page book, 7-kilogram book that captures the essence of the Benin Kingdom for over 2,000 years. Over 18 professors were involved in the book. We have 18 chapters with 4 sub-chapters, all presented in a glamorous way that can attract the youth to our history. I went into this simply to show the world that Africa has color, Africa has history. Most of the narratives we've heard, we know about African history is based on the European version. As a matter of fact, the world believes that African history started when the Europeans came, which is a wrong premise. Because we did not write, did not mean we did not keep our own history.
The 18-chapter book also examines the origins of the Kingdom of Benin, dynastic traditions, and contentious interpretations of kinship lines.
Well, we put this together just to let the world know the importance of Benin history and the fact that there was a book, 7 kilograms, as we always say, and 600 pages of more than 2,000 years of the history. And honestly, the book is so well put together with glossy pictures and all of that, well researched, that it gave me more confidence to say whatever I'm talking about, I have to be defending it and I have to be proud to defend it. Benin Kingdom has always represented tradition, culture and tradition that most people will probably not want to believe, but they also know that all they needed to do was just check out the place and they will find that the truth is always there.
As a well-established monarchy and very stable economy, the social life, governance, production of high-quality artworks, which has helped in the preservation of the cultural heritage of the people, are vividly portrayed in this giant book.
It gives me immense pleasure to be here with you tonight. On behalf of His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, to see the talent here on display, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Look, Nigerians are talented, Lagos are talented, right? Lagosians are talented. In terms of actually showcasing and displaying what we have, it's actually quite mind-boggling, the level at which we've reached. But here's the thing, we need to create the right platforms to be able to showcase the wealth of talent that resides here in Lagos. And this platform, this gallery today, gives us the impression that yes, it can absolutely be done, right? But we need to bring more awareness to people in the creative and art space that we have, especially in Lagos. So museums like this, what I'm looking for is longevity, sustainability, and from government perspective is to be able to round up and showcase the very best of what we have. And a platform such like this that allows us to showcase our wealth and talent is really absolutely the way to go.
Chapter 13 of the book shows the role heroines and queen mothers played in the establishment of the Benin Empire. It will be noted that women were a very important part of the sustenance of the monarchy.
Because I came across Nigerian history for the first time in my life in a London museum. And in that London museum, I found that the Nigerian art was the most powerful part of the museum. And that we, at that time, and I'm talking about the 60s, early 60s, but we in Nigeria did not know that much, especially going back a few thousand years of Nigerian civilization. And that was what aroused my interest. And you can see how happy people are, and you can see how informed and educated they have become about one of the oldest empires in Africa, not just Nigeria. The Benin Empire is a massive empire, and that story should be circulated, should be made known, particularly to the younger generation.
The final chapter of the book, which highlights how ancient ways and ceremonies have been maintained alongside contemporary society's need for modernity, Easy pointed to the fact that the Benin Kingdom is a very progressive society.
I totally agree with Mr. Newton Juvenile there. The Benin Empire is a massive one with very rich culture, and with the heavy incursion of Western culture, it is absolutely important that we begin to set historical facts straight. And not just straight, but from the insiders, telling our stories by ourselves to the world.
I mean, you're not far from the truth. You're very spot on. Truth is, let me be very controversial. What did the West give to us? Nothing. Sorrow. When the Portuguese came here in the 1500s, they found street lights. They found developed streets in Benin. They found an organized structure that was working. So what did they give to us?
Don't forget the Great Wall.
Yeah, the moat. So when you ask, what in particular did they give to us? They say education. We went there and we started even doing better. I mean, as at the 1600s, Dom Domingo had gone to Portugal, the University of Coimbra, and studied. So as at 1655, we had a Nigerian university graduate. So what did they give us? Nothing. We're already a developed system.
I just hope that a lot of other cultures can look at what they've been able to achieve and imbibe the same thing. Okay, so we are going to go on a short break now.
We'll bring in our guests for the segment in a couple of minutes, but we'll go on a quick break. The Benin Kingdom, I'm sorry, I'm biased here.
Yeah, Desua.
Very rich in culture. We'll come back to talk some more about arts, culture, books. Today it's all about the creative industry. So don't go anywhere. Join us again.
Right, welcome back. So, like we said before, Jahman is here. Let's talk about, Love FM. Jahman, you have a checkered history with journalism in this country, today's in Guardian. I mean, this is the great Jahman Anikulapo, Sunday, editor Sunday Guardian for so many years. Jahman, books now for you. I mean, this has always been your passion. Let's talk about this, Jahman.
Okay. Well, I left my job in 2013 just to devote time to this, although we've been on since 1999. The whole idea is that in 1991, Professor Chinua Achebe had an accident. He went out, and he was coming back in 1999. So we targeted that, okay, if Achebe, the father of our contemporary literature, was coming back, we wrote to the government that, look, you should give this guy a resounding reception. Fortunately, the minister then, Jahman Anikulapo, philosopher, artist himself, agreed. So they set up September 14 every year to honor creativity. So they just call it National Creativity Day for Achebe. And so the first one we did was on September 14, to welcome Achebe back to the country, and they promised to sustain it. They didn't. So the following year, we started doing our own. And the whole idea was that we were coming back into democracy in 1999. And we noticed that the citizens were not being brought along. It's like some group of people were just deciding, okay, we're going to democracy. How would the citizens participate? That was what we were about. That, look, Lagos Book and Art Festival is an open-air festival of life and ideas. Let people bring whatever they've been creating. So that we can begin to engage our... Because we believe that the reason we're the way we are is because the citizen is largely uninformed.
And that brings me to my next question. There's a school of thought that says the reading culture reflects the quality of leadership and civil discipline of a people. So how would you describe our reading culture? I mean, there are staggering statistics. I came across one that says 4 out of every 10 primary school children cannot read to comprehend.
You see, the last time I was on your program here, I mentioned that people are reading. But what are they reading?
Okay.
Because, look, if you have this huge volume of people going to church and they're reading the Bible, motivational books are selling. You need to go to bookshops and you see people really picking those books and reading them. What we have not done is to train their mind back to creative works. Because a book that you have read, I mean, once you read a book, you've done a travel. If you read a book about China, you are in China already. And that's the way to open up the mind. So we've not been able to really get a program together nationally or even at state level to channel the mind of young people, even older people, to the idea of reading. And that's what we do. If you come to Laba, for instance, in 1 week, you have about 5,000 kids who come. If I were celebrating 15 young writers, some of them as young as 6, if I had that kind of exposure, I wouldn't be where I am today. So a lot of young people are writing, and so if you take them from there, I mean, we already concluded that we're part of the wasted. No, they were wasted. We're wasted. But these kids, these new ones, we should just get them to. And a lot of people are doing things around young people and things.
I want to talk about the symbolism. You know, because when we read, we also talk about history. I want to talk about the symbolism of using Freedom Park that used to be a prison.
Thank you very much.
Before, to host this conference. That was where the colonialists always imprisoned us.
Yeah.
That's a big prison.
Yeah.
What's the symbolism like?
Yeah, you know, the greatest challenge we have when the public, when they are assessing what we do, that why do you use Freedom Park? They want us to, for instance, you approach a bank or a telecom company that you want to do, you say Freedom Park, who will come there? But they don't even, they can't make the connection. Reading, literature, arts, culture frees the mind. It opens you up. And once you have that, you begin to flourish. So we use Freedom Park deliberately. In fact, we started at the National Museum in 1999 because there was no Freedom Park. Then we went to National Theatre. We always insist on open ground. But for Freedom Park, Wale Soyinka is the patron of the place, and he was part of NEMI. I was part of the program team. We deliberately took this to Freedom Park so that you begin to associate the idea of knowledge acquisition, the idea of reading, the idea of creativity to the idea of freedom. The only thing that can free your mind from all these shackles that we mentioned in our theme is when you are exposed, when you are informed. But because people are not informed, they are not exposed, so the religious leaders will take advantage of you, politicians will take advantage of you, the man who has the biggest car will take advantage of you because you are not informed. Because when you are informed, you are reformed. So that's why we targeted Freedom Park. And the fact that we wanted to make a political statement. If the whole of that Freedom Park area, the federal secretariat, the former colonial secretariat is there, the police station is there, you know, that was where the prison is there. That was where a lot of our leaders were, maltreated. In fact, the biggest stage at the Freedom Park now used to be where they hang people. So if you get on that stage, if you go under the stage, the main stage, you still see where they drop. I interviewed Professor Duncan, who was the doctor on duty then. I mean, he said his job was, when they have hanged them and they fall into that trap, you bring them out just to break their... He was really recounting this with pain. That what happened in Freedom, he couldn't believe it, that the Freedom Park would be that transformed. So it was a very great foresight for Theo Lawson to have come up with the idea. Of course, you know how it came to be. Governor Fashola wanted a green city. So they got together some architects to advise and town planners. So 5 architects, young architects, Theo Lawson and a few others, they came up with the idea of a creative intelligence agency, so 5 of them. And they picked different projects. So he picked Freedom Park. Freedom Park was the home of street urchins, and so they had to build from scratch just to represent that particular experience and now turn it into what it is now. So I coined the word like a place of pain, now a place of laughter. And this is something they use all the time when we're drawing the program for the play. I think it's one of our remarkable stories that we need to...
You know, speaking about the reading culture, like Adesua rightfully mentioned, that we do have staggering statistics regarding the reading ecosystem in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. You know, there are even people that would say, if you want to hide a secret from a black man, put it inside a book. And one of the things that you are doing is a mentorship session happening with Femi Jacobs. And the theme is mentoring students on the importance of reading and education. What do you think the role of mentorship, about how important is the role of mentorship in boosting our reading ecosystem in Nigeria?
It's really very important. In fact, what we, for over 12 years now, we know that the children are very attached to celebrities. Okay, but Mona Lisa Chinda is the lead mentor for this year. We've done Kate Henshaw, Joker Silva. So Femi Jacob is doing the second, but he just wrote a book. If you read that book, it was a book of pain. Femi Jacob that all of us clap for, if you read, and we just came to the conclusion that everybody should write their story. He wrote about how he ended up on the street, how he was a nobody, and then got some luck, and then he had to rise through. The title is Rise. And that's why we asked him to come and do it. Normally we do one day, but we couldn't resist not putting him because already Mona Lisa Chinda said she will come. You need to read Mona Lisa's story too. These were people who have to struggle to get to where they are. And so we use them as mentor for these kids. Mentorship is what is actually going to sort us out. Education, the way we run it now, has failed. Has failed. I don't know whether we can get out of it, but if we run school the way we run schools now. I was in Eric Moore. My office is very close to Eric Moore there, and I went to that school. I'm sure many of us know Government College Eric Moore. That was supposed to be, if you go there, okay, go to Yaba Tech. Go to all these schools, and how can people even get education in those places? My cousin is just about to drop out of uni, like I've been begging him. He said in a class he has about 150 students that will be sitting down there. You can't even see the lecturer in front. Even to study the way his lips are moving, or even to study, to look at him in the face. So
how do you even ask questions when you don't even understand?
Yeah. And while we're talking about this, as well, the federal government is still going at it. That's a talk for another day. let's quickly go to the conversation about having a reader's ecosystem. I am an author. I've done 9 books.
Yeah,
but
that's quite
the problem is you don't have an ecosystem where you can sell your books in this country. That's another big challenge. We don't get enough people to read. Like I was telling you before we got on the air, that you don't have a chart, or is it like a movie chart that tells you the top 5 books that was released this week in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know the top 5 movies showing in the cinema.
Of course.
How about the top 5 books? But I remember when Barack Obama was president in America, whenever he's going on holiday, you see the presidential reading list.
Yeah.
Always published.
Yeah, even though it's every December to advise people for your Christmas break.
Anyway, I've not seen any from Donald Trump. Anyway. So how can we get that reading ecosystem?
You see, a lot of people, there are so many people doing stuff. If, permit me to say, if the government is smart, is to take on these people and, invest what they're doing. And because the government cannot do it, there's too bogged down with bureaucracy. We're not asking them to put so much money on it. Just show some interest in what people are doing. I mean, talk of Ake Book Festival, talk of a Legal Book Festival. But when we started, the plan was to have a book festival in every city. In every city in Nigeria. I mean, we have about 8 or 9 then, without
we have Kaduna Book Festival.
You have Kaduna Book Festival, yeah, Bayelsa. That's what a smart government would do. Instead of talking all the big English I was trying to talk to the minister one time, and I said, look, there's so much talking going on. I don't see what you guys are doing. In fact, the speech he gave 1 week ago was I went and compared, was the speech of 2015. Edited.
Recycling the same.
I mean, just
just before we run out of time, very quickly, this is open to everybody.
Oh yeah,
it's open. It's at Freedom Park. It's a 1-week event.
Yes.
When to when. Yeah. And what do you hope to achieve? Is the 21st edition? What will be different this time around? Very quickly.
The difference this time around is the harvest of young people who have written and who are coming, and the whole notion of emerge. Because, 20 years of democracy, we've gone through all this turbulence. We're still in it, but we're saying, how do we start to assess the emergence? I mean, we have a lot of young people who are doing stuff. I mean, that's the whole difference about it. Young people are doing stuff. They are doing their own program. So when I mentioned that there are 21 partner programs, these are young people that you probably have never heard of them, but they're doing their own stuff without anybody's support. So they're all coming to the platform the second time we're doing that.
As a wrap-up, thank you so much for coming. When does it start? Just one quick
Okay, November 4 to 10.
November 4.
It's a week at Freedom Park, yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Jahman, for being here.